Hello there and welcome to this overnight taste challenge. I have two Irish blended whiskeys. This is Teeling Small Batch, introduced in T12. Now there's many more added to their line. But they started in 2012 and they had their stuff contract distilled, and then they had their own distillery opened in 2014, a resurrection of the Teeling company, which had been going for a long time. But the family members who were interested in doing the whiskey, they collaborated with what you call it, Bacardi, the Bacardi people, to get the distillery built. They didn't have that kind of money on hand. Non-chill filtered rum casks, and this is from June 2019. This bottle's before this scandemic. It's a brown glass bottle. I think it says finished in rum casks. Yeah. And Bacardi, right? Get it? I think we can figure out who's rum cast, but that's cool. No problem there. Let me update the notes. No age statement. Central American rum cast, I believe they said. So that's 92 proof, so it's a strong one. Let me moisturize the cork. I've had 3 instances now over the years of dry rotted corks. There it is. Okay. This is also corked. This is proper number 12, introduced in 2018, formerly associated with a celebrity, a sports celebrity, no longer. This bottle's from the time when it was, has the celebrity's name on it. I won't go into that. All right, real cork. Only 80 proof, so that's the lowest proof allowed to be whiskey in the United States legally. 80 proof, 40% alcohol. It's aged 4 years in ex-bourbon barrels. And I know that's the truth because it says it on the bottle, aged 4 years in ex-bourbon barrels. Pour some of the Teeling. Now the Teeling's non-chill filtered, and I'm pretty sure it's natural color because you'll notice how light it is. Look how pale that is. Pale straw. I rather when they have the natural color because it gives you a picture of what it really looks like. Makes sense, right? Okay. I don't think this will be so much of a challenge because, well, 46% alcohol versus 40 should make a difference. How's it going, Ron? Says Alex. Going very well. Alex worked at the fish fry last night. It was very busy. We had a lot of people coming there. Zen Cryptus says, is there a point where aging no longer does anything for the whiskey? You mean like in barrels? Aging in the, that's the only place you could age it. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have a good answer. Probably there is, but you'd have to ask a whiskey expert. You could probably look that up somewhere. I can't give an answer for that because I just don't know. I'm not going to pretend that I do. Okay, I got a proper 12 is okay. It is. Let's do a screen share. I can't look down. If I see that pale straw, I'm gonna know what it is. So this is the Teeling website, Teeling Small Batch. Now, I was able to get this bottle for $14.99. Sounds crazy, doesn't it? But that's the truth. I wouldn't have bought it otherwise. I mean, I wasn't on the lookout for this. I knew I wasn't trying to track it down. I wasn't pro or con, you know what I mean? I didn't do towards it. I just knew it was out there, and I thought one day I'll get it, I guess. But when I saw it for $14.99, I knew that was much cheaper than normal. It's normally like $38 or even $40 now. So I had to buy it. Non-chill filtered, ex-bourbon barrels. Then they marry them together in Central American rum casks for up to 12 months. So what you're doing is alcohol is aged in ex-bourbon barrels. The single malt whiskeys are aged in ex-bourbon barrels, and then they're brought together, blended, and then aged together in ex-rum barrels. Triple non-chill filtered. I'm not going to read those tasting and aroma notes because I can never remember them. And then secondly, I don't usually agree with like things that they're saying. There's a video you can watch about it. And then make many single grain. Nah, that's just a piece of the whole. And I don't like buying these pieces. I did that with the busker and it tasted like an incomplete product. 90% corn, 5% malted barley. Column distilled. That's how the single grain are. They're column distilled like vodka. But of course, they're aged in oak, and vodka is not aged in oak. Okay, now here's proper vodka touchwood. Proper number 12 original. There's also the aged in ex-bourbon barrels. All right, so they got the story there about it, but the story has changed since they're approached by no longer associating with the celebrity. So the story is no longer, if you get on there and look at it, there's no reference to the celebrity. Okay, I'm about to turn the lamps on. Aged. I'm not going to get too complicated on these notes because people could read it on their own if they feel like it. Aged in ex-bourbon barrels, then finished in rum casks. That's enough notes. Because like I said, people, if they want to, they can read. Okay, I got it well mixed. I don't know which is which. I think I'll guess this pretty fast. And I have another Teeling product, but it's a private label, I think. I'll probably go somewhere today and see it in a store that's not Total Wine. But it's called Kavanaugh. And it's I'll check the trademark data. It was introduced in 2013. It says owned by Teeling Distillery, so it makes sense. But I think it's produced by Teeling for Total Wine and More. But once again, I don't definitively know that, although I strongly suspect that. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that's the case that they gave me. Okay. Smells sort of sweet. Smells sort of mild. Smells sort of proper number 12-ish. Much bolder and more honey. But now I remember, you see, this is where the mix-up starts. This is where the confusion begins. Because I remember the proper number 12 having that strong honey presentation. So now let's go with the taste. A lot of honey. There's no honey in these now. Let's get that straight. These are not flavored whiskeys. They just, the malts and the grains, they come across like a honey flavor, but there's no honey in it. Although I know they make honey flavored whiskeys. I know that. I've even tried a few. That Wild Turkey American honey and the Jack Daniel's honey. And they're all right. I took no issue with them, except for the fact that I had no interest in them. But people I do, I could see getting into it. Okay, much stronger, more heavy bodied, a higher proof product, obviously. Does the rum finish seem to make a difference? Rum barrel finish, rum casks. Yes, it does. Rum is made from sugar cane, and you get that sugar type product finish on it. Yeah. So this is the Teeling. Just double check the labels. Yeah. So is Teeling a better product? Yes, I do believe so. It better be. It's a good deal more expensive. Let's check Total Wine right now and just see for general interest. I'm interested in it. What the price is going. I'm saying over for Teeling Irish whiskey. I'm wrong. $36.59. Okay, so that price actually is lower than when I had looked at it previously. Now, with all these tariffs and everything, is the price going to go way up and up? I don't know. I guess so, but I guess ultimately I don't know. Okay, good for me. I have so much backlog of liquor at this point. I won't need to buy anything. Not that anyone ever needs to, but you know what I mean. I won't need to get anything imported because I got too much backstock now. So it's going to be years before I need to buy new liquor. So by that time, everything probably blow over, you would think. Okay, now single malt Irish whiskey, and then there's single grain. So I don't really like that approach because they're taking the single malts that they use in this blend and they're selling it separately. They're taking the grain whiskey and selling that separately. And then they have a single pot still. They're taking that third component, the single pot still whiskey, selling that separately. So they're taking one product and selling it 4 different ways. They're selling the whole and then the pieces. You say, yeah, but a lot of companies do that. They do, and I don't like it personally because I feel like it'd be like, oh, we're just going to sell the pepperoni. And then we got a package where we sell the dough. Then they'll sell the cheese. You say, well, wouldn't it be better if it was all together in a pizza? You would think. Now they're showing Tullamore DW, Ide and Stills. And I know Ide and Stills is a product made for Total Wine because it says it on their website. Powers, there's Powers. I keep hearing about old Powers, boy. There's Kavanaugh for $18.99. Only went up $1. Want a gold medal too. Huh. That's something. Okay, well, we'll do that tomorrow. So still though, $36.99 versus $26. So it's a $10 price difference. Is the Teeling $10 better? There's really a lot of strong oak in this flavor here, in that rum finish, that rum barrel. It's a rich finish. It's sweet in the finish in a way. Heavier body, 92 proof. Yes, I think it's worth $10 more, but I wouldn't go over $10. It's worth $10 more, but then you cut it off there. Now, on the other hand, to be fair, Proper number 12 was not made to compete against Teeling, which is an above premium product. It was made to compete with the other premium Irish whiskeys, the Paddies, the obviously Jameson, the Bushmills, or you say Powers, which I still never tried. Those are the ones it's made to compete against. Your standard Irish blended whiskeys, premium price. Now, there are some budget ones like Drum Castle, which is actually much better than you would think. Like Drum Castle, you buy it and you're like, nah, that's going to be nasty because it's only $14.99. I mean, it's usually $17.99, but they have sales a lot at the store. But it's still cheap. But it's actually much better than you would imagine. And it's one of those rare, peaty, slightly smoky Irish whiskeys. You say, nah, you're crazy. Well, I'm not crazy. I've seen other reviews and people say the same thing. It's peaty and smoky. Not in any kind of serious way, but there is that There are notes of smoking peat, but they're subtle, but it does make it stand out. Now there's Duhan's. Duhan's another one of those independent bottle and Scotch single malt, not single malt, blended Irish whiskeys that was made for some company that went out of business. Well, they actually got acquired by a different company and it looked like they went out of business. And I never see Duhan's anymore. It started showing up. It came in a nice box and everything. But you could barely find any information about it, and then it was gone. About as fast as it showed up, it was gone. But I got a bottle, and I thought $19.99, not a bad deal. And then a week later, it was $9. They were getting rid of it. $9 at Walmart. I said if I'd have just waited, but of course I didn't know. Wesley Ethheimer says, "Hey Ron, what's up? About to have some coffee. I just drank 3 cups and had 2 waffles with some butter, real butter, not margarine, and pancake syrup. You plan on having a Super Sunday stream?" Yes, I do. Tomorrow at 10:30 Eastern a.m. Honestly, and I always try to be honest, I don't see any point of telling lies. I actually prefer the proper number 12. Even though I'm telling you up front, I don't think it's as good of a product. I just prefer it for my own enjoyment. Because I've said this in the past, I like lower proof products. Now, some people will openly laugh at me and ridicule me when I tell them I prefer 80 proof. Roll their eyes. You're not a real whiskey drinker because you don't like high proof. That's a ridiculous statement to make. Like my neighbor across the street saying when she goes out to dinner with her friends and those women order White Zinfandel to drink, she's embarrassed because she said they don't know how to drink wine because she drinks Pinot Grigio naturally. And I'm thinking, that's really a bad attitude to have. I'm pretty sure they know how to drink wine. That's just what they want, that light rosé, White Zinfandel. But in her thinking, they don't know how to drink wine. You said, but they got people that think that way. I know. Teeling is light golden color. Yeah, well, it's more like straw in a way. But yeah, light gold, white gold. Yeah, I'll go along with that. Herbie in India. Hello, Herbie. Any negatives on Teeling? No, except that I find it's a little strong, 92 proof. Once again, some people are laughing at this moment, saying you're crazy. That's so low. I only drink barrel strength. And now I'm not trying to be a reverse snob saying, oh, I'm not the kind of person that's saying, oh, they just want barrel strength. That's all they want. I don't ever think like that. Because my whole idea is that you should drink whatever you want to drink. I mean, what difference does it make? So you got your barrel proof people, they want to drink that. It's not for me, but that's what they want. And some people only drink the most expensive whiskeys. If it ain't E.H. Taylor, they ain't drinking it. If it's not Pappy Van Winkle 23, they ain't drinking it. Do I look down on them or roll my eyes and think you snob? And all? No. Now, if I had to pay for it, I'd have a different attitude. But since it's their money, why should I care? I don't care if people want to drink super cheap whiskey. It's not for me. Although, as you know by watching this channel, I've certainly sipped enough of it. Just to see. You didn't want to cover all the areas. So, yeah, Same thing with beer. Most people I know, not some, most people I know, they want to drink light beer. That's it. When I brought the Outlaw, that was exotic. Oh, that's exotic. Well, to them it's exotic because no corn or rice, all malt, light beer. What is this stuff? It's so bizarre. To them, it is. And some people say, "Oh, I drink Michelob Ultra. I'm more mature," you know. But I mean, so I that's not my interest. If only thing they had was light beer, I guess I wouldn't even have a channel because why would I want to look at all that? But I've tried most of them. Busch Light is well made for what it is, American adjunct light beer, But I prefer the imperial stouts and the India Pale Ale, stuff like that. Personal preference. No right, no wrong. It's a neutral, morally. See, these are morally neutral subjects. There's no good or bad. It's just neutral. It's a personal preference. When you start thinking drinking certain type of beer or wine is good or bad, now that's a problem. Now your thinking is warped. My friend likes to bet on it, but always loses. Oh, March Madness. Yeah, well, most people who bet lose because gambling is designed to separate you from your money. Joe Cobb says, "Morning, Ron. Been drinking soju lately, Korean liquor, but only like 12%. I see that around. I do see it around. I haven't tried it, but I see it around. So many hours in a day, you can't cover it all. But okay, proper number 12, final assessment is very good. Can't quite hold up to Teeling, but it's not a shabby competitor. Just wasn't a fair taste challenge. Didn't really have a chance to start with, but I have it in the cabinet, so I'm bringing Teeling into battle. Didn't have to fight hard, Now, what about Kavanaugh? An inexpensive Teeling offering, which I think, like I said, I think is only sold in Total Wine and more. That'll be a contest, you see, because I thought Kavanaugh, even though I only paid $17.99, now they're selling it for $18.99. I thought it was really good, and it was much higher than you would expect for like a store brand, as they say. So, well, I think it'll be a real contest tomorrow. And if proper 12 gets beat, I wouldn't be shocked. 52 Canadian dollars for that Teeling here in Canada. How much you pay? Like 20? Oh, yeah. Well, it's around $36.99 here. 52 for you, $36.99. But I only paid $14.99. I don't know why the local store had it for $14.99. But I wasn't going to go bring it to their attention. Like, I don't think this is right. I think this is too low. I'm not stupid. They had that Shunkoshuto Japanese Spring, the spring edition, Japanese whiskey. The prices I found, the cheapest price I found was 48. 48 to 68. I paid $9.99. I don't ask. I see it, I buy it, I'm out of there. I'm gone. That's a deal and a half. You got that right. I mean, to find this for $14.99 was... My friend David bought a bottle too. He's like, I gotta buy this. I know about this product. Don't worry, his bottle's been gone. I said, what happened to your Teeling? He said, I blew through that stuff. That stuff's so good. I didn't save it. But he doesn't do, to be fair, he doesn't do taste challenges. So he's not trying to nurse the products for years, so that he can do these endless, this never-ending tournament. But there is a point to the tournament. It can bring attention to you. It can bring attention to yourself. Like you're thinking, oh yeah, this whiskey is unique. I'll never confuse it. And then you say, oh, I can't believe it. I got it wrong. So it can be an interesting adventure, so to speak. All right. So the winner today, once again, Teeling, and now you see it might be a year before I do it again. So it'll go back in the cabinet. It might be a year before I get back to it. Probably be more like 9 months. But how much do I have left? Well, I've got a good third of it left. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, a third of it left. Proper number 12. Well, I'm about a third way through it. But then that might last for years because once I finish the tournament, then it'd just be a little incremental sipping of it because I'll have a new product. And I do have a new Irish whiskey product to come into competition next year, or I say maybe at the end of this year. The Trader Joe's Special Irish Whiskey. I finally saw it, and it was $14.99. And that's the regular price. You say, oh, well, wow, yikes. Yeah, but you see, don't laugh it off, because it's probably made by one of the big companies. Well, it's definitely made by one of the big companies. It's either made by Teeling or Middleton Distilling. That's the big Irish distillers make Jameson. Or Bushmills, one of the big companies. And if it doesn't say Northern Ireland, you know it's not Bushmills, so that can narrow it down. But that's later. All right, so let's close out the Irish whiskey over this week coming up, and then we'll be on to single malt Scotch, which everybody always loves doing single malt Scotch, including me. All right, bye-bye, everybody.